A report commissioned by the UN Human Rights Council has found Israel carried out the destruction of maternity wards in Gaza and embryos at a fertility clinic during its offensive in Gaza. In its report, the commission found that Israeli authorities destroyed the reproductive capacity of Palestinians in Gaza as a group through the systematic destruction of sexual and reproductive health care. The destruction of maternity wards and fertility clinics indicate a strategy to prevent births among a particular group, which is one of the legal definitions of genocide. The report came after the commission conducted public hearings in Geneva, hearing from victims and witnesses of sexual violence. It concluded that Israel had targeted civilian women and girls directly, acts that constitute the crime against humanity of murder and the war crime of willful killing. The commission added that forced public stripping and nudity, sexual harassment including threats of rape, as well as sexual assault, comprise part of the Israeli forces' standard operating procedures towards Palestinians. All the institutions that were established to monitor crimes against humanity and genocides, alongside a raft of the world's most respected human rights organizations, have now concluded a genocide is taking place in Gaza. This week, China's Huawei announced it was testing its first domestically produced extreme ultraviolet lithography machine. Short of the Manhattan Project, it's rare that a single machine can have as wide-ranging geopolitical ramifications as the introduction of this machine. Semiconductors have become the 21st century's gold dust, and the machines that make them are so critical that only the Dutch company, ASML, manufactures them. China has invested heavily to develop an indigenous semiconductor industry, spending more than $150 billion in the past decade. The US was hoping to stall Chinese development by restricting access to advanced chips, but China has now produced its very own extreme ultraviolet lithography machine. The machines are central to producing advanced chips that are as small as 3 nanometers. They are the size of a bus and use advanced lasers to generate radiation to imprint on wafers. If trial successful, this machine constitutes a breakout moment for the Chinese semiconductor industry. China would be able to manufacture chips better than those produced by the US and its allies. America's strategy to monopolize this technology and restrict its users is on the verge of failure. Russian President Vladimir Putin said he agreed with the US proposal for a 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine, but only as part of a broader deal that would lead to long-term peace by removing the root causes of the war. Putin suggested that Ukrainian forces would have to withdraw from Russia's Kursk region and appeared to demand that Ukraine not conduct additional mobilization measures, train soldiers, or continue to receive Western weapon supplies during the 30-day pause in fighting. With Russia occupying nearly 20% of Ukraine, Moscow is in a strong position to dictate terms. Putin has focused on the need for the United States to demonstrate how it would ensure Ukraine's neutral status and block European military forces from entering Ukraine. The United States has already said that it does not support Ukraine's NATO accession and stated that Ukraine will lose some territory. While the issue of European troops in Ukraine will remain contentious, there is room for a compromise if Russia manages to severely water down plans for such a deployment. While Trump will likely attempt to use a combination of both carrots and sticks to convince Putin to agree to a ceasefire, Moscow's strong negotiating leverage means this process will likely take weeks, as the Kremlin can dictate its own timeline and would probably first seek to fully expel Ukrainian forces from Russia's Kursk region.